this like maybe sort of spooky video with you guys. Wait, we should watch the Jay Aubrey video. But I kind of want to watch. Oh, I can't decide. I saw this 28 minutes of terrible credit card debt video that looked really good. So maybe let's just watch a little bit.
Is credit card debt. Maybe they swiping them cards. They swiping that card.
Even my card doesn't want me to stop it.
So if you ever wondered why my savings account is basically empty and I have 5 figures of credit card debt, this is it.
5 figures credit card debt. Savings empty. I was like, yeah, I get it. You know, like boss makes $1, you make a dime. And what? You have to suffer so you can save any money for retirement time? I don't know. You know, I get it. Credit card debt. 5 figures could be 10K. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
This is it right here.
All right, so today we're going to be going over some more credit card debt. We're going all across the board in this video. We're going to be watching clips and looking at comments on how people got into credit card debt, some of the addictions that will get people into credit card debt, how some people got out of credit card debt, and a lot of the predatory practices that these companies will try to get you back into debt because that's how they make their money. So if you have any experiences, leave your comments down below, along with any future topics you want me to talk about in future videos. But we're going to start off with a clip that I feel like a lot of people just need to hear, especially in the day of social media. Everybody's flexing, everybody's showing off, and it's not just the ultra rich and super wealthy, it's just normal people now.
And like credit card debt, because you know you're trying to pay your mortgage and you're trying to like pay for tuition, you're trying to pay for shit that you need to live. Fuck, man. Like, yeah. Saying this is why I have credit card debt and then showing a bunch of shoes that half of them look the same. It's like causing pain in my heart.
If you're in your 20s and you keep consistently seeing people and you like, oh my God, how are they doing all this? How are they affording all of this? Blah, blah, blah. And you're really confused and you're trying to figure it out. Is really one of two, maybe even 3 options. The first option is credit card debt. Maybe they swiping them cards. They swiping that card. They probably have $30,000 right now in credit card debt. But they're in Bora Bora. Absolutely. The second is rich parents. Don't ever underestimate the power of a rich parent. The third is they might be scamming. They might. Small might. And then the fourth, absolute and final, is that they're really just getting to the money. But that's very low on the total pole. It's probably credit card debt.
And this isn't much of a surprise like the other videos that I've made with doom spending, people just swiping.
I'm not calling you out, to be clear. I'm agreeing with you. This is so Twitch brain rot. Bora Bora, 39 def reference, question mark. And I have the same brain rot. Because why do I know that too?
Their card buying anything that they somewhat like. They don't even care about the future anymore, any of the buy now, pay it later, which you see is the top comment on this video. It's Klarna and Afterpay, almost 100,000 likes. That's how popular these companies have become. You know, pay 4 easy installments or 6 easy installments, and then it makes it look like, oh, it's much cheaper than it actually is, but then people just don't end up paying the installments, and then the interest rate gets out of control, and then people just never end up paying it back. My friend is $96,000 in credit card debt. I didn't even know that was possible. I think having almost $100,000 in a credit line is impressive, let alone spending all of it and not paying any of it back. But as long as people keep getting likes on their Instagram post or views on their YouTube videos, they're just going to keep swiping and keep going more and more into debt just to get that little dopamine hit every time they post something online. We have a comment from one of you guys in my older videos, Gen X here, and it seems to me like Gen Z people will happily go into debt for vacations just so they could post online about their awesome life they're living. Wake up, kids. And that's been something that's already been in the news. There are
the crazy thing to me is like the financial irresponsibility. Like I took out a semi big loan when I was in my glow up era, but it was on $0 of interest. It was like one of those credit card offers that's like, hey, like 0% APR. And I like did the numbers. I ran the numbers. I did the math. I opened the spreadsheet and I was like, there's no way that I won't be able to pay this off. I'll just pay off an extra grand a month and then I get 0% interest. great. And that's exactly what I did. I got the credit card because it was for my braces and my Invisalign, which was very expensive because dental care in the US is very expensive. And I was like, well, I literally can't fucking physically afford this right now all in one go. But there was a card that was offering like literally 0% APR for the first year, so long as you pay it all off. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. So I did that. I paid it off in like 6 months, not the year, because I was like, I don't want to get hit with some fucking insane fucking charge. So I paid it off in 6 months, long before any interest was going to pile up. And then I paid $0 in interest. And then my credit score somehow went up. And I was like, cool, sick. So if you're using credit cards that way or credit card debt that way, doesn't interest accrue monthly? Well, that's why I read the fine print. And for mine, it doesn't accrue until the first. So it doesn't actually, you don't have to pay how much is accrued if you pay it before the 0% interest period is over. So like, in the background, they're constantly accruing the amount, but you don't actually have to pay it if you pay it off in time. So this is just, none of these numbers make sense. Just please stick with me for 2 seconds. But let's say you have like a 6-month timeline. And let's say you don't pay off, let's say you take out 10 grand and it's like 20% APR, right? 20% would be 2 grand. So 2 grand of interest. And then you would also, what's the term? When it like compounds on itself. So I don't know. I would have to pull out a fucking calculator and do it. But just for the purpose of our sanity, just for our sanity, let's just pretend like it's 2 grand, right? Let's just pretend like it's 2 grand. Over the 6 months, you've accrued 2 grand of interest. The credit card that I had was just like, as long as you pay it on month 5, day 29, you don't have to pay this. The second it rolls over into 6/1, you have to pay all of the interest that's been accruing. Does that make sense? So if you find a card that literally, just read the fine print, make sure, yeah, if you avoided the 2K of interest but failed to pay on the final month, they still charge you the full 2K. Yeah, even if you paid like $9,999 on the final day of month 5, on month 6, they still charge you the full interest. So you should be careful, definitely like have fucking alerts on your calendar, which is what I had. Because I'm ADHD as fuck, but I write down reminders on things that I check every day. And that was one of them. And I paid everything off with lots of time to spare, just like I thought I would. And it worked out great. So like debt, that's how debt is supposed to be used. You're supposed to use debt that way. The way that corporations sort of use debt. You take on risk that you know you can take on comfortably, and you make sure you stay on top of it. You read all the fine print, and then you're good. And then you don't get charged any extra money. So it's kind of like this bank just gave me a loan with 0 interest. And then I paid them off. Like it's like your buddy saying, oh, here's $1,000. And then they tell you, just pay me whenever you can. Except with the bank, it's like, just pay me before this time. And then you just hand the $1,000 back to them. So very, very sick. Very cool. Which again, that's how you're supposed to use it. That's what debt is for. It's for big purchases in the moment that you can't necessarily afford. But you know, if you had just like another month or 2, or maybe 6 months, it wouldn't be a problem.
Tons of
the bank, however, gambles that you won't do it and that you won't meet your payment deadline. And that's why they make money. Because a lot of people either forget or they can't.
People still paying off their debts for last year's vacation that they put on all of their credit cards, and they're still going on vacation this summer. I don't know. I guess everybody's plan is to just file for bankruptcy, and then the next like 5 to 7 years of their life, they're just going to be chilling at their parents' house or something along the lines of that. I just don't know what the plan is, honestly. But for the next few videos, we're actually going to be talking about some addictions, because that will definitely add into the difficulties of getting into debt. The most well-known one will actually be shopping addiction, how easy it is to go buy something online now. You got your phone in your hand or your pocket, you have a computer right in front of you. You don't even have to go to the mall anymore. You don't have to drive 5-10 minutes away to the store. You could just click a couple buttons, and within a couple days it'll be in your front doorstep, and don't even have to pay full price. You have the Afterpay and the Klarna, so it's installments. It's not really that bad, and I think the symbolism...
For my sanity, I like never use Afterpay or Klarna or any of that shit. Like, ever. I don't want to fucking find out that I forgot to pay off some shit and now I have to pay hundreds of dollars in interest in some stupid thing I forgot I got.
This short clip is pretty funny with some of the amount of money people will spend on their credit cards.
I have such a shopping addiction, then this is how I'm cutting myself off. Even my card doesn't want me to stop it. Come on. Come on.
And that's not even enough for people. We have the comment section. Good thing I have my cards memorized. Me memorizing all my card numbers because I type it so often. I mean, that's not particularly a good thing. But again, it is the internet. People will always make jokes about more serious topics, and there's nothing you can really do.
I always get questions as to why I have so much credit card debt. This is it. I'm spring cleaning my apartment and I did something incredibly stupid. I must be a masochistic little idiot because I realized that I am literally the woman who lived in her shoes. I counted and there are 60 pairs. It takes up literally the entire area space of my bedroom floor. And for reference, this is about 6 feet right here. This area, it's like 6 feet across. So if you ever wondered why my savings account is basically...
The worst part about that, this gives me so much anxiety, dude. Straight up, like, seeing this is causing me... like this is causing me more brain damage than the asthma mold video. I have like severe minimalism brain. I remember it took me a long time to deal with the fact that I needed all of these wires and all of these lights and dog shit cables for streaming. And for the first, I think, year of streaming, of having this stuff, it caused me dread to own this number of stuff. Like, the more stuff that I have, the more stress that it causes me. And it's like a constant tick damage that I have to deal with. Where, like, it's not okay. It's not okay. The idea of having... Denims grew up with a hoarder gang. My family was huge on hoarding. Huge on hoarding. I have, like, spring cleaning every other month because it fucking freaks me out to own stuff. I hate owning stuff. I hate it so much. Like, I like... my favorite hobby is going to the trash section. The junk aisles in stores. And looking at all the garbage that I know in the moment feels good to buy. But once you have to throw it out, you feel like shit. And I like to go and look at it and be like, oh, look at all these knickknacks. Look at all these pens and pencils and paperweights and mugs. And at least with mugs, you actually get to use them. The idea of having... Yeah, I'm very opposite of like a consumer. I hate being a consumer.
This area, it's like 6 feet across. So if you ever want...
The idea of having 3 or 4... knee-high black boots that look exactly the same causes me dread. Causes me genuine dread. Like, permanent psychic damage. Every time I would see that, for me, it would be like the Minecraft, like, damage-taking noise. I can't. No, I don't know how people do this, man.
Wondered why my savings account is basically empty and I have 5 figures of credit card debt. This is it right here. So this is what 60 pairs of shoes look like. And shamefully, I think only like 5 of these pairs are under $300. Okay, let's say under 200. That one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Those are the only pairs that are under $200. Oh, and then my Birkenstocks back there too. Oh, and my Bass loafers right there. But everything else is over $200. Most of them are over $500.
Okay, so I guess I could kind of relate to somewhat of this person. I mean, I never went into debt for any of my shoes, but I've talked about it a couple times during
Oh,
COVID.
she's rich. She just said she was in tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt, bro.
But I was a full-time sneaker reseller and a lot of money was coming in. I mean, it was like the peak of the sneaker market. So I ended up buying some shoes that I liked and they were very expensive. At one point, I think I had over 30 pairs of shoes and I wore all of them. It's not like, oh, I had them all dead stock like they were like pieces of art or whatever. People like stacked them up on the wall just for like displays or whatever. I actually wore them. But after getting like more than 30 pairs, I realized that I'd only be able to wear each one of these shoes 12 times a year. And then I started realizing how dumb it was, and luckily I didn't really lose money because of how much the value of these shoes were worth, but it was still really dumb because I bet a whole bunch of people would say that's ridiculous how expensive her shoes were, $200, $500, and mine were even worse. Just look at some of the prices of hype beast shoes now. Even with the market being on a heavy downturn, they are very, very expensive. It's a very
Like I this is so my opinions on shopping and clothes and owning stuff is very not leftist. It's all vibes based. I don't like having more than one type of thing because it causes me psychic damage to see that I own an inferior version of the thing. So having, for example, 2 sneakers, I don't need 2 sneakers. Maybe like one pair of white sneakers and one pair of black sneakers for different outfits. Beyond that, I don't need more sneakers. I need it to be comfortable and I need it to match most of my clothes. And you only really need one pair of white sneakers and one pair of black sneakers to match most of your clothes. And that's it. And the idea of having a third pair of sneakers that I never wear, I'm like, it makes me want to like grab a knife and stab them because it makes me so upset, right? I do think, and this is my least leftist take, unintentionally, not because of a value system based in leftism, when you do buy that one pair or that 2 pair, you're allowed to spend an okay amount of money on it because you want a product that lasts, you want a product that's comfortable, and you want a product you love. It's like a suit, right? You want to have maybe 1 or 2 suits, but when you get those 1 or 2 suits, you should splurge a little and get one you really like instead of buying a bunch of cheap suits that you hate all of them. Like, go and get 1 nice tailored suit or get 2 nice tailored suits. And every time you wear it, you get to enjoy it a lot. You're like, oh, this is such a nice quality item. Oh, it fits me so well. There's actually a pretty leftist take. Well, I'm just saying that my positions here are not political or economic. My positions here are personal preference and what makes me happy. Same thing with like sneakers. Same thing with like boots. If I'm getting a pair of boots, I want them to be a pair of boots that are super comfortable, that I love wearing, that look really nice, that there's only one kind of that shoe, like a 1 pair of nice black boots in my closet. And yeah, if I want to spend $200 or $300 on 1 nice pair of boots that I wear for like 5-10 years or whatever, or more, I think that that's fine. I think that that's cool. And also, it's probably more cost efficient in the long term because you don't have to keep replacing these dog shit shoes. So I'm in favor of splurging for 1 really nice item. How bad was the hoarding? It honestly wasn't bad because Arab people are very clean. But it was like my mom just, she had, I'm not joking. She had 2, the 40-gallon boxes. She had 2 of those filled with dishware. And that's just like, the closets were filled to the brim with stuff we never used. It was all like clean. We were not like the people that live in like, homes that like there's like a bunch of pizza boxes everywhere and there's like roaches running around. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was all very, very clean. But it was like, dude, we never use these plates or these cups or these bowls. Why do we own these? They just take up closet space for no fucking reason. We already have like 20 sets of dishware in the kitchen. It's like, well, we don't know when we'll need that. It's like, and it was like that with shoes, and it was like that with clothes, and it was like that with blankets, and it was like that with everything. It was just like our closets were filled with stuff we hadn't used in decades because, yeah. And it's like, okay, I mean, and it caused me so much dread because when we did need something, we had to go through all of the boxes to find that. And I was the one that had to do it, and I fucking hated doing it. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. Ever. No, this is not happening. I am not owning this much shit. It's too anxiety inducing to own this much shit. This video is even more crazy. Owning that much shit by putting yourself in medical debt. I mean, in credit card debt. Oh my God.
A dumb way to spend your money. I could have been able to reinvest a lot of money into making even more instead of just basically collecting a whole bunch of Nike and Adidas shoes. Now this next video is just going to be a very short clip because this is a different form of addiction, but could definitely start bringing you some credit card debt if you're in a similar situation to this woman.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm in $9,999 of credit card debt. Here's what I ate today. For the record, to clear up any confusion, I have a grocery budget and an alcohol budget. It's not one or the other. Anyway.
When I heard that, that was just completely alien to me, and I would say to even a lot of people, if you have a separation between grocery budget and alcohol budget, you most likely have a problem. The comment section said exactly that. Alcohol budget is extremely early stages of alcoholism. I wouldn't even say extremely early. That is not a good sign already. An alcohol budget is crazy. So I mean, it's not just the shopping addiction and swiping your credit card a whole bunch of times online. Having other addictions will clearly cost a solid amount of money. It's not like alcohol is free, and if you're at a point where you have separate budgets for your food and alcohol, that probably means you're spending a good amount of money on it, and you most likely have a problem. Here we have another issue that I guess isn't exactly a shopping addiction, but is definitely more of a thing now in my generation, and I just think is really dumb. It's just another excuse to spend a whole bunch of money putting yourself into credit card debt.
I don't think that it's worth living to just pay a credit card. I should be able to do a little stuff here and there.
Do you think the only reason you're living is to pay off the credit card? I want you to attack it now, so by the time you're 35, you never have to pay a credit card again. So you f***ing around for a month because, ooh, it's my birthday month. Woo! You're extending this situation for years and years to come. You're preventing yourself from getting out of it. You're preventing yourself from ever having enough saved up for retirement so that you can survive, so you're not working in your 80s in order to afford rent because you never saved up enough money to put a down payment on a house. And who knows what Social Security is going to be like when we retire. We can't rely on that. People can barely rely on it now.
So I mean, the birthday week, the birthday month type of stuff is just another excuse to be able to go on vacations. And I don't know, everybody just has to be even more over the top now, even extra. Not just your birthday, you know, you have a cake and maybe you go out or something, right? Now it's got to be a whole weekend. It's got to be a whole week, apparently a whole month now. And then a lot of people will make the excuse that, you know, I'm just trying to live life. I'm not just supposed to be paying off a credit card like she said, even though she was almost $30,000 in credit card debt, and that's basically all her own doing. But this is more common than you would think. We have another comment from one of you guys. I have a 23-year-old son and a 20-year-old daughter. When I explain financial things or budgeting, they don't understand. Their faces go blank. Unfortunately, if you don't have an interest yourself and start looking stuff up online, whether it be YouTube videos or just, you know, financial news and learning things on your own, you're just not taught this. I was not taught this at all in high school. And all the
What?
classes that I had for community college weren't any finance. I wasn't a business
Puerto Rican vegan social thing
or finance major, so none of that stuff applied to me. I didn't have to learn any of that. I just personally wanted to start making more money and working for myself, and that kind of means you have to end up learning all of this stuff, and that's exactly what I did through YouTube tutorials and looking stuff up online. But you actively have to be interested in it. It's not just taught to you like math or English or history, like the normal stuff you'd hear about in high school, because because now the next few videos are going to be some very interesting things that people didn't really know about finances or credit cards or banks, and it makes it easier for these companies to make money off of you just because you didn't know what was coming.
This is a real conversation that I had with one of my friends when I was in university about her credit card, and I still think about this once a week. I have to pay off my credit card. It's like $700 this month. That sucks. What do you mean your credit card bill is $700?
I'm scared.
Like I just bought all my textbooks and stuff, so I have to pay off my credit card. Like, it's $700. My credit card bill has never been over $10. What? Yeah, like you only have to pay the $10. What do you mean it's only
What $10?
What do you mean you're only paying?
No.
$10? Like, every month you
No.
get the bill and
No.
you only have to pay $10. It doesn't matter how much you put on. It's literally, you just have to pay the $10.
No. This is fake. This is fake and gay. This is not real and true. This is not possible. No.
How long have you had this credit card for? Since first year? We were in our third year university. Do people not know that? People of TikTok, people of the internet, just know, like, please, just pay in full. Pay in full.
I mean, this seems like pretty basic knowledge on...
No. There is no one that doesn't know what paying your minimum on your credit card means. No. For anyone who didn't understand what was happening in that TikTok, the lady was saying that her friend told her, yeah, I just swipe my card whenever I want and I just pay $10 a month, which is what it says the minimum is to pay. That's fake. That has to be fake. That has to be fake. You know what that means. That means you're paying interest. You have to know. And bro thinks a credit card is like a Netflix subscription.
Any sort of credit card or finances in general, but I mean, some people just don't know it, and these companies will prey upon that, and because some people believe that...
How would you know if you never learned? Because you should read your contracts when you sign them. And a credit card is a contract? That's like, I feel like everybody should know that. You learn that from fucking Tom and Jerry. You read your contracts. Who doesn't know that? Who doesn't know you're supposed to read your contracts? Everybody knows that. It's in every cartoon that I grew up with. There was one character that signed a contract and then was like, oh, what did I get myself into? You do that? Yes, I do that. Yes, you should read every contract you get into. Maybe outside of like, and this is bad of me. The one that I don't do it on is like, sometimes when I install apps, I don't read the contract. I don't read the terms and conditions. If I'm paying money at any point, I read the TOS because that's consideration or whatever. But that's like the one thing I get lazy on. Everything else, I read the contract. Okay. If I'm paying any amount of money, like $1, it's good policy to read that contract. There was a string of sitcoms of having a credit card episode too, where someone thinks it's free money. Yeah. There were so many shows I grew up with where like the person gets a credit card and they're swiping it and they're like, I have to pay this back. Laugh track. What am I gonna do? Lemonade stand. Did you guys not grow up with this? Did only I grew up with it? This is not possible. Come on, guys.
I guess they just get free money from the credit cards and they pay their absolute minimum payments as interest just keeps accruing and making it worse and worse. And some people just have absolutely no knowledge. You should have to pass a brief quiz before receiving a credit card. And that's exactly what credit card companies don't want, because then they won't make as much money. They want all the people who are the dumbest, that have no idea what could happen to them, using the credit card irresponsibly, and that's how they make most of their money. You'd be surprised how common this is. People think it's free money. I feel like my parents and teachers instilled in me a deep fear of credit card debt, which is way better than I would say most of the population has ever gotten. I mean, the reply from the creator, I learned nothing about this in school. They need to teach this. Same thing with me. So that person was lucky. Apparently, they did have some teachers telling them the dangers of the credit card debt, but most people don't get that, and then these credit card companies will prey upon them.
College classes?
Yes.
On a credit card?
So I had gotten a full ride scholarship to a nearby local college, but they didn't have the degree that I wanted, so I stopped going and got my LPN instead. And then completely forgot about that and saw that all that was in collections, because in order for me to get my transcripts sent to the college I'm going to now, I have to pay that off.
University collections? Collections from university?
Yes.
But you're in university right now and you have university collections? You make so much fucking money. How have you not paid this? Going out to eat is the answer.
So I've basically just been school hopping because I'll owe a balance, so I just go to a next school.
This is so irresponsible.
At least I'm getting my school done.
Yeah, through 50 different schools.
Well, it's getting done.
Oh, an email from you. I also forgot to mention I owe my dad $1,800.
So
he helped pay me some college classes.
He has an insane amount of credit card debt too, so he went ahead and put that on his.
Dude, this is so YOLO. This is so YOLO. Sam, thank you for the prime.
Credit card for me.
This is literally.
If this guy is so smart, why is he a Lions fan? I stole that one from chat, so if it wasn't funny, it wasn't me. Okay? Because I don't even know what sport that is. I don't know anything about sports. Don't hate me. Let alone where they're from. Is it basketball? Football? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything about sports. I had this one coworker who loved sports, and it was my personal. That was like, I think I was in purgatory for some short period of time, and I must have done something good enough in purgatory to be freed from that hell, because he would just talk about sports and I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, and I was like, yeah, no, really, yeah, for sure. Dude, did you see the please please, hey, the Lions are good now. I still don't. It's hockey. Can't tell if you guys are fucking with me or not. I think it's golf. You have to be fucking with me. That's fake. Fuck you. Fuck you, chatter. There's no way it's golf. Everybody knows golfers are just like rich white dudes, okay? There's no teams.
A family with generational debt. I don't understand it, because it's not like she's not making any money. She's a nurse. And I'm not saying that she's a millionaire, but she just will rather go to a different school instead of actually paying the bill for these courses. And I guess she thinks that it'll just disappear, and then, oh, you just don't have to pay it. It's fine. I'll get my degree somewhere else, and do that over and over again. When she's not even broke. It's not like a last resort. She's working a part-time or full-time job as like a cashier making no money.
Football, thank you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, okay? This is like actually unironically just a failure of our public school systems. Like I don't judge any of these people too harshly for this shit, because your school system failed you, right? In the same way that we don't expect, or like we know we can't trust parents to teach their kids consent, and that a lot of parents' sex ed is, don't have sex or you're going to get all of the STDs and then die. So we tell schools, you have to teach kids consent. It's for them and it's for their best interest. The same thing with like financial literacy. Dude, like, you think Grug in a cave 200,000 years ago, or I think that's accurate, was thinking about credit card debt? No, he was like thinking about fucking rocks and food, dude. Man was not meant to keep a permanent score of how much money they owe and how much money they need to pay off and how much money they make. That's all active. All of that work is active. You have to budget plan. That's kind of a redundant, but you have to actually make a budget. You have to appropriately do financial planning. You have to set aside a certain amount of your paycheck to a certain amount of savings account. You should keep an active record of all this stuff, and it should be like maybe like on a month-to-month basis, right? Not that that's my goal. I'm barely at quarterly right now, okay? To be very clear. All right. But I know what needs to get done. And it's fucked up because some people don't know what needs to get done. And it's because their parents failed them and their school system failed them. It's the same thing with home econ. Like, I try not to judge people too much for, like, not knowing how to cook. Because if your parents don't teach you and your school doesn't teach you, how are you ever going to, like, learn? You have to force yourself to learn to do this thing you've never done before.
Money. It's still a solid amount of money, but as she said, her dad is basically the same way, so she's never been taught to literally not do what she's doing right now. And
Me, Grog. Grog didn't read term and condition. Now Grog, 1,000 of rock in debt. Grog also broke because Grog bought crypto in the rock chain. They absolutely teach financial literacy in high school. They did not teach financial literacy in my school. Luckily, like, my parents taught it to me. And then I went to business school, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. But they did not teach financial literacy in my high school. And my school wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best.
the comments were not very nice. The lights are on, but nobody's home. She's infuriating and has zero interest in fixing the mess she made. If you have a full ride, use that to do all your core classes before you transfer. And yeah, I didn't even...
Also, a lot of the a lot of the comments here that are being rude to this lady have never experienced like what crippling anxiety feels like. When you're in the shitter and then you realize you're in the shitter, it's like debilitating. When you realize how fucked you are, it is so debilitating. It is totally a normal human response to just be like, well, I'm not going to think about it because thinking about it is going to make me spiral. And I have like shit I have to get done today. Unfortunately, eventually you have to fucking put on your big boy pants and be like, well, let's take a look at how bad it is. It's like people who's like, it's like hoarders, right? When your fucking home is covered in garbage and empty pizza boxes and soda cans and trash, or God forbid, the worst is people who have pets and there's like cat shit everywhere. That shit makes me like sick. But I've watched one episode of Hoarders and I was like, it gave me so much stress, so much secondhand stress. I was like, I can never watch this again. But when it gets to a certain point of bad, starting the task gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And then once you know, it's like, dude, I know it's bad. Starting it is like impossible. It's fucking impossible.
Even talk about that. If she at least got some money from the college, it's not like she went in having to pay for absolutely everything and she's too stubborn to help. And I mean, I could kind of agree with that. She's kind of just laughing, again, not taking it seriously, and there's no real plan for people like this. We have another comment from you guys that I thought was just very simple but very funny. I have a friend that uses Afterpay for Grubhub. So I've personally never used any of the DoorDash or Grubhub or whatever. I know that the fees get out of hand.
If you can afford it, great. I only use Grubhub when I have like friends staying over. That's it. Which I think is a good policy. I mean, I have maybe friends stay over maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Ever. And I figure that's fine. Like, yeah, all of us could go and like drive over or whatever and DoorDash this. But like, it's okay. That's fine. I think that's okay to use it a couple times a year. The people who are like, you're just chilling at home, playing video games or whatever, and you're DoorDashing every other meal. Can you explain it for a European? DoorDash/Grubhub are just food delivery apps. So a personal taxi for your McDonald's meal or whatever you want to get. And the problem is you end up paying way more. So let's say like let's pick a good example. Like Wendy's 5 for $5. I think it's like the 5 biggie bag now is what it's called. They used to be 4 for $4, but they have a 5 for $5. You buy this shit on Grubhub. It's not $5. For some reason, it's $6. And the some reason is that Grubhub takes a cut. It's like a 20% cut or more sometimes. And so these stores like Wendy's have to price hike to match that because they still have to run their own profits, right? So they end up price hiking everything. So everything on Grubhub or Uber Eats or DoorDash is about 20% more expensive. And then you have to pay usually like obviously tax. And then there's usually some like delivery fee. And then there's usually some like random junk fee. It's like service fee or something else.
I have a friend who's constantly broke and I've given up helping them. Every paycheck is gone within days on Uber Eats. Tattoos, hair and nails. I've written off the $2,000 I lent them.
Yeah, my that shit makes me insane. I'm not gonna lie. That shit makes me insane. Maybe I'm wrong to say this, but like I only lend money to friends who I know are responsible. When I go out with friends who I know are responsible, I put down my credit card every time because I know that they're going to message me and be like, "What do I owe you on Venmo?" I feel no concern at all. At all. I go out with Sabrina for K barbecue or something. There is no part of me that feels dread putting my credit card down because I know, and she always does it, messages me, "Hey, what do I owe you? What do I owe you? Please tell me what I owe you." And like, that's for me, my position. I'm just like, you know you're going to feel bad when you get fucked. So don't put yourself in those positions. I don't understand how anyone can have third-party people touch their food. I know people who DoorDash, they're gross. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, going back to what I was talking about. So like this $5 meal is now usually about 20% more expensive, if not more, because it's on an app that takes a 20% cut. And then usually companies see it as like an opportunity to make even more money. So, and they know that they're allowed to charge more because it's on a delivery app. So they usually like price gouge a little bit more and make it like $7. That's been my experience. And then they make it even worse because there's like the tax, which is like, let's call it $1, right? So let's say we're at $8. And then there's some delivery fee and then some service fee. And then there's like, usually sometimes there's like a fee that just says, "Fuck you." And then surge pricing fee. And then somehow by the end of it, you're at $20. And then you still have to pay tip on top of that. So you add another 20% or whatever, $4. Please, I swear to God, I'm not getting into the tipping discourse. Do not, if you type right now, "I never tip," you're just gonna get instant ban. Do not make me start on this. Don't. You will pay with your life if you start that discourse in here right now. So then you end up paying like $24. For something that if you drove, it would have only been $5. Think of how this is when you're paying for something that's like $20. So straight up, if like savings is an issue, you need to uninstall these apps. Straight up. You need to uninstall these apps. This is sketch.io. It's about knowing your pitfalls and stopping yourself from getting into those pitfalls. I've seen very like interesting ways of solving problems, like people who have a really hard time not being on their phone, for example, while they're trying to get work done and trying to be productive. This one was the most interesting. They get a bowl of corn syrup, they put their phone in a plastic bag, and then they put the plastic bag in the corn syrup so you can see if you're getting something important, if you're getting an important call. But the idea of getting it out of this bag that's sticky is so annoying that your phone is no longer appetizing to scroll on. You're like, okay, I could get this plastic bag out of this sticky mess so I can scroll TikTok, or I'll just keep working. Or I'll just keep working. So it's about coming up with creative shit to get yourself to stop doing the things you don't want to do.
And I bet there's coupons and whatever, but if I'm going to go out to eat, which isn't super common, I'll just
Kind of
go
based
to
when you think about it, yeah.
Chipotle or something like that, or a restaurant. But having to do payment installments to get like some Chick-fil-A sandwich or, I don't know, like a Baconator from Wendy's sounds absolutely wild to me.
I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but if you are currently putting the majority of your paycheck into a high-yield savings account because some financial guru on TikTok told you to do it, and now you can't pay off your high-interest credit card debt because you've done that, you're not winning. You are most likely losing between 10 and 20% of every single paycheck just on that interest. Always pay down your high-interest credit card debt before doing anything else with your money. And I don't know about you, but I like having my money work for me, not for one of the major credit card companies.
So again, to me, this sounds like absolute basic information, but as we've seen in previous videos, when there was somebody on Caleb Hammer's show where he was obsessed with getting 5% cash back on his credit cards, he kept saying it over and over again, like, look, I get 5% cash back over and over. But he wasn't paying any of the credit card down at all. So the interest was like around 20%. So that extra 5% he was getting back was still a loss overall, but some people just can't get that through their heads. And this is another similar one. I mean, the high yield savings account, most of them are around 4 to 5% right now. So it's in that realm.
This is why I'm not talking about this guy. I don't know. But although this guy might be a good contender, the shirt, the cap, and the finance bro energy, the minimalist bedroom, it's like scaring me. It's like my red flag detector is going off hardcore right now. But the thing that sucks about the framing on videos like this usually is like, it's these people's faults for not understanding basic financial literacy. But it's like, no, dude, credit card companies spend millions, if not billions of dollars making as much money as possible, making it harder to pay off your credit card, making it more confusing to pay off your credit card, preying on you not understanding that shit, making it as complicated as possible. They are, obviously it is your responsibility to be financially literate, but you have to understand that the corporation is working as hard as it can to fuck you over. That is their goal. Their goal is, and they spend so much money doing it, trying to fuck you over. So like, I that's the one thing I hate about finance bros. They never talk about that aspect. And it's just a lot of personal responsibility. But anyways.
So people will put all their money into that, which isn't a bad idea. That's exactly what I do too. But if you also have credit card debt at the same time, you're still going to be losing more money than you're making.
Did you know you can go to an ATM and insert your credit card and take out cash? Yeah, here's why you should never do that. Someone in my life, and I'm not going to say who, found this out the hard way. They were having to pay rent in cash, and they thought, oh my gosh, like, instead of going to an ATM and using my debit card, I'll use my credit card because then I get all these points and then I'll just pay it off at the end of the month. Win-win. And they'd been doing that for a little while and weren't watching their credit card statements closely. And then all of a sudden they're like, why am I getting such high interest charges? This is weird. I'm paying my credit card off every month.
Oh, not the cash advances. No.
When you buy something with a credit card, you don't pay any interest unless you don't pay off your credit card whenever your bill is due. But with a cash advance, when you've taken money out, like actual cash out from your credit card, that interest starts adding up every single day. And it is huge. The only time I think this actually makes sense to do would be like a literal emergency. Like you're trapped in a foreign country, you have no friends or family, and you need $10 out to pay a cab driver or else, and nothing else is working. None of your cards are working. Maybe. But if you're tempted to use a cash advance in everyday life, definitely go into the bank and see what other options you have, either a personal loan or a line of credit. Those are such better options.
Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know you could do that.
Also, I feel like lower wages are a large part of this as well. Yeah, this is like my coldest take, actually. I hate that if there is financial advice that basically says, stop going out and enjoying dinner with friends. I hate that there is there are financial advisors that are just saying like, oh, you want to go and socialize? Did you consider that you don't want, you need a savings account? And it's like, Listen, man, okay, I'm going to be honest. If you want to go out twice a week with your friends and spend a reasonable amount of money getting a reasonably priced dinner with some like tacos or a steak or something, we're not even talking like fine dining. I'm saying just going out to enjoy a nice burrito with friends, maybe a beer. And you have to stop paying that money to afford to retire. There is a bigger problem happening. You should be able to get a $5 coffee on the way to work and go out with friends twice or 3 times a week without ruining your chances of retiring. DoorDashing or Uber Eatsing or like Grubhubbing, I think that that's valid financial advice because you're not even getting the social aspect, which is the most important thing for, in my opinion, food. I think food is a really great way of connecting with other people and having a good life, right? DoorDashing is just like you're feeding into a system that is hoping that you're too lazy to go do something, and I'm obviously I am not talking about people who are not able-bodied. I'm talking about people who are able-bodied who are using food delivery apps. They're praying that you are too depressed because of your job or your family or your life, and that's why you're using it, even though you know it's financially irresponsible. You should be able to go outside and have fun with friends a couple times a week and go get a beer with some friends a couple times a week. You should be allowed. You should make enough money to go and socialize. Okay? And if you have to stop doing that, that is a problem with the financial system. Not that you aren't saving hard enough. That's fucking stupid. That's so stupid.
ATMs. I thought ATMs were strictly debit cards, and even that isn't really the best deal unless you have the exact debit card that the ATM is like from, like a Wells Fargo or TD Bank or Citibank or whatever. You also get a fee on top of it, so you're still losing money. But I just thought credit cards did not work at all. And I'm very glad that I've never done it because this is another one of the sneaky tactics that if you didn't know from a lot of these companies, you could even be completely fine in paying off your debt at the end of every month, not carrying a balance over. But if you do that cash advance, you immediately start losing money from the interest right away. You don't even have to wait to the end of the month. So just another way for these credit card companies to make a little extra money on you. And this isn't even for somebody who's unbelievably irresponsible. And they could still get you on some solid interest payments.
Okay, I wanted to... When was the last time you had food delivered and you were satisfied with the food? This is actually why I stopped doing... I think I got Taco Bell like 4 months ago, food delivery. And it was the worst Taco Bell I've ever had. And everybody knows Taco Bell's kind of trash food, but it's like good trash food. It was like my Crunchwrap Supreme had no beef in it. It had none. And it was missing like 3 items. And I asked for fire sauce packets and there was no fire sauce packets. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. No. I'm never doing this again. Also, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, chatter, okay? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. All right? People suck. I prefer delivery. I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of a secret. Because you think this, all of the cool people that don't suck don't interact with you as much. And you end up only attracting other people that suck. It's, I would compare it to like content creators that are huge right-wingers. Not that you're a right-winger, just to be very clear. But like content creators that are huge right-wingers, anyone that's even a little sane just doesn't interact with them. So who do the right-wingers end up interacting with? A bunch of insane right-wingers. And they're like, dude, leftists fucking suck. They don't want to interact with me. They don't like hanging out with me. It must be their fault somehow. But it's more that the lefties see that and they're like, dude, you're crazy. I don't want to interact with you. And until you like recognize that and say, oh, me being a huge racist fucking right-winger online is driving all these cool people away. You're just stuck in that circle. And then once you cut them off, you get to finally start meeting all the cool people. It's the same thing. It's absolutely the same thing. So long as you have the thought, people suck, other people can tell that you think that because it like leaks out of you. And in ways that you wouldn't notice. You'll say something to someone and they're like, oh, this is not like a sociable person. I don't want to be friends with this person. And you miss out on these people because they can tell that you feel this way. But as long as you have a positive impact on other people's lives and you have a positive feeling about you, other people can tell that about you. And then those people are drawn and attracted to you. And then you end up surrounding yourself with lots of cool people. I have agoraphobia. I don't attract any people. I'm sorry to tell you this. Also, this is another thing. I have like bad social anxiety and I also don't attract people. So I have deluded myself into thinking that I am the rock of all of my friends and that it's actually cool that I get to be the person that brings people together. And that if not for me, we wouldn't hang out. So you didn't logic your way into that position, so you can't logic your way out of it. So you just delulu yourself out of it. And surprisingly, you're much happier. That's what I do. W delusion. Straight up W delusion. Yeah. Straight up. It is a bit of a W delusion. But that's what I do. I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I don't get invited. But whenever I invite people, they always show up. So we take the W's when we can. And then the crazy thing is, usually when you end up talking to a lot of these people, they're like, I was having bad mental illness moment. I was like not having a good period of time. And I was like, oh, dude, everybody hates me, obviously. Brains are so fucking stupid. And I'm like hanging out with a friend and I was like, yeah, so what have you been up to? And she's like, you know, I haven't hung out with anyone since the last time we hung out 2 weeks ago. And when you remember stuff like that, it's like, it's not about you, man. It's not about you. Right? You can be the rock for your friends. And the fact that they want to come and hang out with you every time, you got to take your dubs when you can get them, man. Alternatively, you can glass half empty and be like, fucking nobody invites me. It sucks. Very clearly, something has to be wrong with them because I'm cool. Okay, whatever. I'm not cool. Nobody wants to hang out with me. Like, you want to live like that, man? I don't want to live like that. I want to be happy, man. I want to be happy and I want to hang out with people and enjoy myself. Because people are the best thing about living. Straight up. Living in a world with no one in it? Hell fucking no, dude. That sounds like hell. That sounds like shit. Anyways. Which is also why I do not endorse any type of savings plan or, finance bros that think a valid savings plan is stop going out and enjoying dinner or beer with friends. Fuck you. Fuck you. Humans are social creatures. Okay? If I lived in a world with no one in it, how would I get revenge on other people? Dude, that's what I'm saying. No, you're getting it.